Oh, darn it. Darn it! I'm caught off guard. Hello and welcome to my video tutorial. My name is Brian Hegney. I am instructor of communication at High Point University, and today we will be making a rising platform in Unreal Engine 4. So that sounds amazing, doesn't it? You should have a basic understanding of the basic layouts and concepts like what is a blueprint? What is a level blueprint? What is a variable? Just a heads up, some of the things we'll be covering today are going to be blueprints, level blueprints. We're going to be using variables. We're going to be using vector variables, possibly a Boolean here and there. We're going to be using triggers. We're going to be using events in blueprints, and we may be using the branch function. Essentially, we want to tackle the problem of, in a simple 3D game, or 2D game really, we're going to be using the first-person sample project or template. In a first-person 3D game, how do you trigger a platform to start to rise when you get on it? Something that seems really easy. A lot of beginners don't necessarily know where to go or how to do that. So let's just start off with the beginning. Number one, for some reason, as much as I love Unreal Engine, for some reason the engine interface starts off with the content browser with the little sources panel closed. I love seeing the hierarchy of my folders, so I'm gonna make sure that's opened. I'm gonna click on the content. I'm actually gonna create a lift or an elevator or a platform right about somewhere here, maybe the middle, and when I get on it, I want that platform to rise up, maybe to lift me up onto this gray block. Alright, because if we click play, we kind of go around and I can't jump up there, right? So maybe I want to create a lift that my player will run on. So that's what we'll do. First things first, I'm going to use, I could start off with a cube. If I dragged a cube from my basic modes over here, dragged a cube into my scene, I could make a lift out of this by changing its scale over on the details panel when I have that cube selected and maybe saying, oh, it's 3 times in the X, 3 times the scale in the Y, and then maybe 0.25 in the Z direction, so a quarter. I usually lift it up a little bit and then tap the end key, and that allows it to sink down to the ground level. That's a really nice trick if I want to place this over, I don't know, one of those cubes over there, right on top of it. I could push it over there and hit end, and it'll drop it down like a hat. Ooh, what a nice hat. Delete that hat. But I don't want to make just a cube. I actually want to build a blueprint, because a blueprint is where all this magical stuff can happen, and I can add all sorts of things to the cube, or to the lift itself. So what I'm going to do first is go into first-person BP. Evidently, that's where all of my blueprints are going to hang out. Here's my first-person character blueprint, my game mode blueprint, HUD blueprint, the projectile blueprint. Alright, so what I'm going to do is create a blueprint. So hey, I'm going to click Add New, and I'm going to go up to Blueprint Class, and I'm just going to choose the Actor class, since this is something that can be spawned in our world. I'm just going to do that. Now I'm going to call this, let's call it Platform BP. For Platform Blueprint, maybe I'll call it Platform 1. I might have like 20 of these platforms. So I'll call this Platform 1 BP and hit Enter. And notice it looks just like a sphere. I think that sphere actually represents, if I double click into it, that is the root component in my scene. So if I have nothing else in here, of course, it's represented as that little sphere in the content browser. So what I'm going to do first, you may think, Peggy, I know what you're going to do. You're going to add a cube as a component to there. And I tell you what, I'm actually not going to add that cube there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit more versatile. I'm going to actually add a static mesh. And if I add a static mesh holder to that cube, or to the default scene root, I'm sorry, I will call it Platform. Look, it even had it highlighted blue, like waiting for me to rename it. So I'm going to call it Platform. enter, you look over to the right side of your screen under the details section, and because I have platform selected in the components section, okay, I can see all the things that are related to this platform. What is it? What is the static mesh? What is the location? What is the rotation? So what I'm going to do is actually under static mesh, look, it's empty. It says none. Well, I can add the what looks like the 1 meter cube there, 1m cube underscore, and I can do that. And of course, it's just like adding a cube. But now the beauty is, if tomorrow I feel like I want my platform to not use the cube, but maybe to use something I model in 3D Studio Max, something that's a little bit more awesome, more epic maybe, I can model it in 3D Max, import that as a static mesh into Unreal Engine, and then just quickly switch out this stupid cube for the really cool static mesh, and that will update every single one of my Platform 1 BPs in my scene. So that's something that I might want to do. For now, it's going to be a cube. I'm going to do the same exact scale that I did previously. I'll probably do maybe 4 times for the X, 4 times for the Y, and 0.25 for my Z. And that's not a bad looking platform, right? It looks pretty good if I think, whatever, it looks good. Compile it just to see if there's any errors. Maybe I did something terribly wrong. I don't know. No errors, and now I'm going to save it. And what I'm going to do is just minimize this, because I like to see what's going on once I go through every step. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit in my scene, kind of move up, rotate down. I'm going to drag this into my scene. So I'm dragging from my content browser right in here. Oh, you know what? That's decent. That's a gray thing. Do I want it to be gray? You know what? I want this to be a white cube. So I'm going to double click my BP, my platform blueprint. And, oh, I see, the static mesh, that's a gray cube. So I'm not going to deal with that now. I'll keep it gray. You know what? I'm going to navigate. I'm going to click the little magnifying glass so I can find it in my content browser. And now look, as I click that, it pulled up the 1 meter cube. I'm going to double click that, because I want to see if I can maybe change that material from the cube material to maybe the cube material override. Oh, that's nice. I like that much better. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that. I'll click that. Oh, good. That's a white. Oh, that's so nice. It's an off-white. Save that. I don't know if I need to minimize that. Oh, darn it. Of course. Hey, welcome. Yeah. Oops. I actually did that for every single thing, so I'm going to put that back. It's okay. I'm just going to live with this for right now, because that's not what this tutorial is about. I should probably just use a different cube. I'm going to use the shape cube. Hey, there's a good lesson. I'm going to use the shape cube. I'm going to mix it up. Okay, there. That's a little nicer. I mean, I'm just looking for material to contrast against the regular ground so that my player sees it and knows that it's weird. It's probably going to do something if I step on it. So now I'm going to compile it, save it. Okay, that looks better. Sorry, guys. Alright, so here's the thing about a game engine that I deal with a lot of students, a lot of first-time students who've never worked in a game engine. And so one of the things that they really want to do, and that frustrates them, is they say, okay, well, this is the platform, it's supposed to go up, how do I do that? I click play, I made a platform, I stand on it, now it should just take me to that block right there. So you have to tell the game engine a lot of things in order to get that to work. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to make a trigger. You need an event to happen in order for the game to do something, or in order for the engine to do something for the game. So one of the things that needs to happen is I'm going to say, when I stand on the platform, the thing happens. And the thing that happens is the platform is going to raise. Now, how could we do that? Well, I could learn the X, Y, Z values of that platform, and I could check my own X, Y, Z values as the player and say when my X value hits this and the Y value is here, and then raise a platform. But that you would never do that. And maybe I did that when I first started programming. Maybe I did do that, and I think I did. I used to write thousands of lines of basic coding, and I did things terribly wrong back in those days. Luckily, the Epic Games makes this engine for people like me who aren't necessarily engineers, but we want to do a little bit of programming. So guess what? Under our volumes in our modes panel, at the very bottom, there's something I use a lot. It's called a trigger volume. It's essentially when I walk into this volume, it triggers an event. That's the event that triggers something to happen. And it's really easy. You just drag and drop it, drag it and drop it, and it looks like a wireframe cube because it is a wireframe cube. And you know what? I'm just going to look at that. That is kind of about the size I want. Maybe it can be 1.5 times wider on all areas. So I'm going to say 1.5 scale for both X and Y. And I'm going to keep it the same height though. I don't know why. Why would I keep it that same height? Just because. Just because. Maybe 0.75? And then, of course, I have to kind of wiggle it around and tap down. Okay, there. That's good. That's what I'll keep it as. Now, it's like I'm not going to run into it. I'm not going to trigger it by just running into it or next to it. I have to get onto the platform to actually make it go. So if I click play, now I trigger it, right? Boom. So I hit the trigger. Of course, nothing happens because we haven't told the game to do anything yet. And so just to see how that works, I'm going to zoom out. This is the first bit of functionality we're going to be adding to this template that already exists. And the way we do that is, remember we went to our first person BP, clicked on blueprints, we made platform BP. This is a blueprint that we can script things in. Well, guess what? There's plenty of blueprints. And one of the most special blueprints, special? I don't know, is the level blueprint. In the old days, I remember when I first learned Unreal, it was UDK, or some people called it UE4, Unreal Development Kit. It was called for me. And we used Kismet, and it was the level blueprint, essentially, and that's all we had, from what I remember. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a special blueprint, and the way you get to the level blueprint is by putting your cursor up in your blueprints, clicking on the little down arrow, and there's a little option called Open Level Blueprint. This is the only place that exists to get to the level blueprint. All of our other blueprints are like standalone blueprints, and they exist in our content browser. Not the level blueprint. The level blueprint is only accessible through this. And each level, as far as I know, by the way, if you know of another way to get to the level blueprint, you tell me, please. I want to know. But each level has its own blueprint. So for this map, if this is level 1, this level blueprint will only exist for level 1. And when you go on to level 2, all the stuff is gone. Alright, so let's see. Let's check it out. It consists of an event graph. What I want to do is I want to tell this level, sorry, let me just minimize this a little bit. I want to tell the level that when I collide with this trigger volume, the stuff is going to happen, whatever that stuff is. So that's what I'm going to do. Number 1, I'm going to select the trigger volume. Now, I did it on my first try, of course. If you try to select a wireframe in the viewport, it may be difficult. So just keep trying, because a lot of times I select the thing behind it, like there. Oh, I did it again. That's great. If you're having trouble, just practice selecting wireframes in a lit scene. So what I'm going to do is keep it selected in the viewport. Go to my first-person example map level blueprint and right-click in the event graph. And I have context sensitive turned on, right? If you turn that off and toggle that on and off, the thing that you notice happening is when it's toggled on with context sensitive, you can see, oh, look at that. Create a reference to trigger volume. I don't want to do that just yet. What I want to do is add an event for trigger volume 1. So if you twirl that little arrow down, I want a collision, because again, I want to collide with it. And the one I'm going to use is add on actor begin overlap. It means when any actor starts to overlap this thing, then something's going to happen. Okay? I'm going to click it, and I get a little red blueprint node. These red nodes are events. An event is any time something happens to start a process, right? Whether that's tapping a key, whether that's triggering a trigger volume, right? So that's what this is. So when it happens, you know what? Just to make sure it happens, and sometimes I work for a long time and I really want to just see something work right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say print string, and I'm going to type in. Oh, and if you don't know this, sorry, for my students who have never used the game engine, when I drag a line out of this execute node, right, this is what the pathway travels along. So almost think of it as electricity, right? It goes from the first to the next, and it'll keep going along this one executable line. And I'm going to let go. And when I let go, I have all sorts of options. And what I'm going to do is type in print, because I have no idea where print is. But if I type print, then I'm sure I can see, oh, there it is, string, print string. And a string is a series of text. That's the simplest way to put it. I know there's someone out there who really knows what a string is might say, hey, that's not enough information, or that's not really quite right. But yeah, if you want to print some text just to the screen, it's considered a string. And I'm going to say, trigger! There. It says for development only, and that's fine, because this is development time. I just want to set it to the screen. I'm going to compile it, no errors, that's good. Going to save it, going to minimize this, going to play this. Now, personally, I do not like playing in the viewport, the active viewport. The reason is, I want to see what my game settings are. Right? So if my viewport is really skinny like this, and maybe it is because I'm looking at my content browser and I click play, like, look at, ooh, that's not a fun thing to play in, right? And sometimes students will think their game mode is in like a different aspect ratio than it is. So what I like to do is click the little down arrow to the right of play and say new editor window. All right, and now here's a typical aspect ratio. So I'm going to walk into my platform. And when I walk into my platform, then it's going to say, trigger! Yay, there it is on the top left of my screen. Now that's just a note to myself saying, hey, you did it right. Escape to get out of here. So that's fine. I'm going to open up my thing here. Okay, and I'm going to I'll keep that the way it is. The next thing I want to do, okay, now that I have a trigger, my students will often say now, okay, now that I have a trigger, I just tell it, go there, right? Go there. The thing is I have to figure out where there is. And if you look at this, if you select this object has an XYZ value. Right now, this box has a location of 643 in the X, 1354 roughly in Y, and 322.8 in Z. That value is the exact value of the point where its gizmo is. It has, we call it a number of things. I'm pretty sure it's the origin point of this object. It's the object's pivot point, origin point, whatever you want to call it. That is its value. So I want this platform eventually to come about right here, right? So maybe, right? And so that value is, I could actually take that value. Hey, that's 670, 560, and 440. So you know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I'm just going to go ahead and copy those values for myself over in another in my notepad over here that you can't see. Sorry. That's a good idea, Hegney. Now I'm actually going to hit Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, just to go back to normal. Okay, now I know the XY value that I want it to go to. So, just for fun, hey, let's open up the blueprint and let's actually move it to that spot. How about? So, when we hit that trigger point, let's just go ahead and send that platform to that location. So let's say, what is it? Oh God, I'm blanking. You can edit this out, right? Actor location. Set actor location. Set actor location. There it is. Utilities, transformation, set actor location. Now, I could take that XYZ value that I have, and it was 670 for my X, 560, 440. And if you're my students and you were in my class, you might wonder, Hegney, you didn't do this in class. What are you doing to me? It's just something fun I thought I'd show. I don't know. So, ooh, what happened to you? What happened? That's odd. End. Let's see what happens. Da-da-da. Why didn't you do it? Oh, ha ha ha. This happened in class today. So you might think, okay, Hegney, I'm going over it. Of course, we don't see the little text thing because I deleted that node in my event graph. I'm not moving there, and here's why. I didn't tell Unreal Engine what I wanted to move to that location. So if we open up our level blueprint again, look at this. I want to zoom in on this. This says, on actor begin overlap, trigger volume. So that means when anything enters into the trigger volume, including myself as the player, set actor location to this X, Y, and Z, which I know is the right X, Y, and Z. The question is, what actor are we sending there, right? If you're in my class, think of the water bottle issue that we did, right? Where someone told me to pick up a specific water bottle and I picked up the wrong water bottle. So we have to tell it which actor we're sending. And in this case, what I want to do is select that platform in my viewport, in my scene, and then in my event graph, right-click, and because context sensitive is selected, I can say create a reference to platform BP. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. There it is, platform 1 BP. I think I can also, yeah, I can also do that. So if you don't want to do that, that's how I always do it. I just guessed that I might be able to do it this way. I can go to my world outliner and drag platform BP into my blueprint and then let go, and there it is. And what I'm going to do is just left click and drag platform 1 BP node into the target, and there it is. You see that? Yay! Now it knows I'm going to set actor location platform BP to this X, Y, and Z. Great. Compile it. Save it, minimize it, play it. There it goes. Woo! That was fun. That was fun. But I'm not on it. It happened so quickly that it didn't bring me. Also, I don't want it to teleport there. I want it to go there almost as if it's a real thing in the real world. I want it to bring me there slowly. So I'm going to hit escape to stop. So that's obviously not really what we're going to do. Now, you may find that useful. Maybe you want to do that at some point. I don't. So we're going to need to do a slightly different thing. We're still going to use set actor location. We are going to use that. But we are going to use a little animation trick called the timeline. Animation tool, or trick. The trick is using the timeline. The tool is the timeline. I'm going to draw a new a new execute line from begin overlap for the trigger volume and let go. And I'm going to type in timeline. Timeline is fun. It's a little weird, I know. It asks you to name it, so I'm going to name it lift platform, enter, and that's just the timeline. It has a specific name. Anytime I want to reference it in another blueprint, I'll remember lift platform. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is double click into it. When you double click it, it opens up this new thing. Now it's empty. So what I want to do is add a float track. And all you have to know right now is kind of, well, let's not tell you much about it yet. I'm going to call this platform animate. There. And now I have this little section called platform animate. When I twirl it down, it'll show me a graph. Right now there is a graph. It's a 0. It is a line graph. X equals 0. Is that the equation? I think so. Y equals 0. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. In any case, there's a line right here. What I'm going to do is hold down shift and I'm going to left click. And that's going to add a little node. Yay. And I'm going to add 2 of those nodes. Okay, and I'm going to click the first one. Now I want that to occur at time 0. So I'm going to click the first node, select the little time section, and type 0. At time 0, its value is going to be 0. That's good. Now, let's say this is a 5-second animation. That's fine. So I'm going to click the second node, and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to have this reach its maximum capacity at 4 seconds. So even though it's a 5-second animation, I'm going to have the rising platform take place in 4 of those seconds, and then the last 1 second will just kind of be resting. And so that's just something I like to do. But the value is going to be 1. And then, of course, we have to click these little fit horizontal, fit vertical so we can see our graph. That's nice. Now, in the future, well, I won't do this yet. We can make this a nice Bezier curve if we want to, but for right now, it'll be linear, so I'm okay with that. I'm done with this. I am going to go back to the event graph. Now, you could X this out. If you don't want to, you can just click on the event graph tab. I don't know. I don't care what you do. I'll X mine out, but that little graph is inside this little timeline, and look at this. Platform animate is now a little node right there. And what I'm going to do is I want to animate the platform using this little thing, but it doesn't quite make sense yet. So I'm going to compile this and save it, and we'll come back to that in a minute, because the next thing I want to do is I want to put the beginning state and the end state as variables, as vector variables, the beginning XYZ coordinates and the ending XYZ coordinates as variables in this level blueprint. And you'll see why in a minute. So if you click on your level, your platform 1 BP blueprint, I'm sorry, that's where I want to put those variables, and you'll see why in a minute. I want to create 2 new variables in platform 1 BP. So I'm going to click plus variable, and I'm going to name this one platform 1 begin, enter. And I'm going to turn this from a Boolean. Now I know it's a Boolean because it's a red little icon, and red is a Boolean. I just know that. See? Boolean. And I'm going to turn it into a vector. Right? So I'm going to click that. And the reason is the vector variable has an x, y, and z. Right? And I need to put this, I want to save the beginning XYZ coordinates and an ending XYZ coordinates. And I'm going to turn this on. You'll see why in a moment. I'm going to make that visible. And now I'm going to add a second one, and guess what I'm going to call it? That's right! Platform 1 end. Is that fun that I did that? Enter. It's a vector again. Turn on your little eyeball. And I'm going to compile that, because look it over at default value. It says, please compile. Please compile the blueprint. So click it, compile, save it. Now when I click platform 1 begin, look, it has default values of, let's make this bigger, XYZ all 0, 0, 0. I am going to click platform end 0, 0, 0. What I want to do is show a 3D widget. Click over in the details. When I do that, and when I click compile and save, when I go into my viewport and I select my platform, look, can you see that little word right there? Platform 1 end. Oh my gosh, I can click it, and what you'll see is I can move this little widgety thing over. Actually, you know what? I am going to move it. I can move it using, sorry, its X. Look at, I can move its X values, I can move its Y values, I can move its Z values. Alright, isn't that cool? So I'm going to move it to the place where it needs to be. Okay, so what did I say? I copied those values over in my notepad. So I'm going to tell you it's 670 is the X value. Yours might differ. I actually don't know if ours are going to differ. If you're following along, you might have slightly different values. But mine is 670, 560, and then 440 for the Z. Is that right? That's not really where it should be. That's hilarious. And I know why. I know why. So I'm not... Yes, that's why. Okay. So what I'm going to do is actually select that, and I am going to use my quad viewport. Scroll out, and I'm just going to make sure that this platform end aligns with that. Okay. And it's roughly there. For now, I'm okay with that. I'm going to click this little maximize button, okay? Did I really put it in the wrong... Oh, there it is. So that's roughly where I think it's going to be, and I can always change that. But for right now, I was able to just move that because I made a vector variable that shows the 3D widget in the viewport for this blueprint. Okay? Makes sense so far? So far? Let's compile it. It's compiled. It's saved. Okay. Oh, now here's the fun part. Okay. So what I want to do now is go back to the level blueprint. The first-person example map blueprint. Because what I want to do is I want to interpolate the platform going from the begin XYZ to the end XYZ. Now, I'm going to kind of go around this in a weird way. You'll wonder why I'm doing it this way. Trust, I've done this so many times. I think this is the best way. You could argue with me, and I'd be totally down with that for that argument. Let's do it. Tell me why I'm wrong. I want to learn. But I'm going to make two new variables in the level blueprint. Okay, so one variable, I'm going to call this LBP underscore platform begin. And I'm going to turn that from a bool into a vector, and I can keep it closed, that's fine. And I'm going to add another one called LBP underscore platform end. And I'm probably going to call this platform 1 end, because I might have platform 2, so I'll call the other one platform 1 begin. Okay. The LBP just stands for this is the variable from the level blueprint, not the variable from the platform blueprint. And so what I'm going to do is add a new event, and that new event for the level blueprint is going to be on begin play. I think that's what it's called. Let's see. Begin play. Event begin play. That means as soon, and hit enter, as soon as the level starts, it's going to execute this this series of functions, and one of those things is going to do, I'm going to set the LBP platform begin. I'm going to set that value. So I'm going to click set. And I'm going to drag LBP underscore platform 1 end into my event graph. Say set it. And I'm going to connect these nodes so that at first it sets the begin and then it sets the end. But what is it going to set them as? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drag platform 1 BP into my event graph. And what I want to do is grab those variables from that blueprint, the begin and end variables. So I'm going to let go and say get, what were those variables called? Begin? No, get, what were those variables called? Platform 1 begin, platform 1 end. Okay, so I'm going to say get platform, there it is, 1 begin, and I'm going to drag another one that says get platform 1 end. There's that. Oops. Okay, so those are the values. But the problem is, for those of you who are wondering, the problem is this platform 1 begin and this platform 1 end variable. You notice the XYZ value of this end is based on where it is in relationship to this platform. So if this platform were moved over here, notice that that platform 1 end variable updates itself based on where the platform is. Now the problem is that means its XYZ value, this XYZ value, notice it's 560, right? Well, if I move this over here, the location of the platform changes, but notice the location of the variable doesn't change because the location, the XYZ value of this little 3D widget that represents the vector location is based off of where the platform is. So what I'm going to need to do is go to my my level blueprint, and what I need to do is add the XYZ value of the platform to the XYZ value of the little 3D widget. And the way I do that is pretty easy. It's a little tedious. It's easy. So I'm going to drag, I need to get I'm going to drag out a middle one here from the platform, and I'm going to say get actor location. There's that. And again, that is a world-based XYZ value. Okay? And what I'm going to do is add these together. So I'm going to drag, notice these are all orange. If I were to break this, I'm going to type break vector. You'll notice every vector is made up of an XYZ. That makes sense, right? I'm going to delete that though. What I want to do is add this vector to that vector. So I'm going to add these together. Type in add, nope, not type in add, type in vector plus vector. There it is. And when I do that, notice if I alt-click this, I can get rid of that node. It's asking for an XYZ plus an XYZ. So that means the platform's X value added to that widget's X value equals the world-based X value that the end platform should go to. And I'm going to do the same thing for the end value, right? The end value plus the location of the platform itself. So this little widget is where the begin should be. And actually, I'm going to show you this. I don't really need to do this because the platform begin is at 0, 0, 0. When I add 0, 0, 0 to the original location of the target, of the platform, right? It remains unchanged because anything plus 0 is whatever that anything was. There's math for you. If I increase the z value and not the xy value, then when I add like 100 units to the z value of the platform, it's the platform plus 100 units. So you can see how that's going to work. So I'm going to set this value to the end. Whoops, why didn't you do it? Okay, so there we go. I'm going to make it look a little pretty. So when it starts, it checks the value of the variables. Where are they? Where are they? It'll add those to its original location, and it's going to create a new set of variables. And that's what I'm going to use down here. I'm going to use the level blueprints variables down here. Compile that, save it. Nothing will happen yet, okay? We haven't done anything. So what I'm going to do now is come here. Let's drag this here, make it a little nice. Now we need to have that new location. So we need to say, I need to, oh, this is cool. We'll do this one thing and it'll be fun, okay? I'm going to drag the platform end into my event graph. Say get. If I were to take that endpoint and drag it into the new location, it'll pretend like this doesn't even exist. It'll run this timeline, but it'll just update this really quickly. Compile it, save it. Like, it'll still work. Oh, why didn't you work? Sorry. End. How did you do that? Why did you... Oh, because I moved it. I moved it around. Sorry, guys. I have to put you back. There. There. Okay, now I can play it. And when I get on here, it's gonna teleport. Oh, look, it moved me. How nice. Oh, what a great thing. I just need to move it down slightly. So you can see that that's actually a pretty good... That's a pretty good setup. The only thing, I might need to move it slightly over to the left and down a little bit. And so watch this. I'm going to select this, move this slightly over to the left and down slightly. Play it again. Now watch, that'll up. Oh my gosh, what the crud? What happened? Okay. There, I don't know what happened before. That's odd. There it goes. What happened before? There, oh, that's almost perfect. Do you see that? Of course, you know, I could figure out the exact measurements, but I'm not going to do that right now. That looks pretty good. All right. So the question is, though, why is it teleporting there, and why doesn't it move smoothly there? And the answer to that is in the timeline. We are going to play a timeline, that's going to set a value from 0 to 1. And we're going to use that 0 to 1 to interpolate. Okay, so here's a word you guys should know. LERP. LERP stands for linear interpolation. L from linear, ERP from interpolate, right? So I'm going to right-click. Let's make this a little bigger so you can tell where I'm right-clicking. It's in my level blueprint, first-person example map level blueprint. Right-click around here and type in LERP. Now I want to interpolate from 0, 0, 0, or from my beginning XYZ to my end XYZ. Well, that's a vector interpolation. So I want a LERP for a vector. There we go. And look it, it's going to interpolate from A to B, from right now 0, 0, 0 to 0, 0, 0. So instead of doing that, here's my platform end. I'm definitely going to change platform end, drag that into the B area. I'm going to alt-click new location so that I just get rid of that node. And guess what's going to be A? Good job! LBP platform 1 begin. Get. Yay. So we're going to drag that into A. Now here's where This might not make sense to you, but let's just accept it. It might make sense to many people, but maybe not other people. Remember that lift platform animation? If we double click it, it goes from 0 to 1 over 4 seconds. Yeah, remember that? That's this node. This node represents that graph. We're going to plug that into alpha. And what you need to know is when that value of platform animate is 0 at the very beginning, that means it's all A and no B. Okay. 2 seconds into the animation, it's halfway between 0 and 1, which is 0.5. And so that refers to being halfway between A and B. And when it reaches 4 seconds into the animation, the value should be at 1. That means it's 100% 1 whole at B and 0 part of A. So it slowly interpolates linearly from A to B. Okay? That's all that's doing. It's generating a value. And I'm going to drag this return value to new location. And so now, as this lift platform timeline animates from 0 to 1, that's going to generate, that's going to actually interpolate from the platform begin XYZ to the platform end XYZ, and this set actor location is going to update every tick based on that timeline. Get it? Well, do what I did and then save it. And now what I'm going to do is play it. I really hope this works. Oh! And then it works. And something weird is happening. I actually have not noticed that. That has not happened all 5 times I've done this in the last 2 days. So I don't know why it's doing that. But what I can do... Oh, what a beautiful platform. I love it. Okay. So I'm going to hit escape because you'll notice, well, it doesn't go down. Okay. From there, we can get into a number of different things. We could add functionality. But essentially, that lift now works because I hit the trigger volume. The trigger volume, well, actually, first thing, let's go over what happens. The level opens. As soon as the level opens, I'm going to move this a little bit. It says, hey, where's your platform begin variable, which is an XYZ? Oh, it's there? Okay, I'm going to add that to the platform location, and I'm going to say that's where your platform is beginning from. Now, I want it to begin. I don't want to move that widget platform begin because I want it to be the center of the platform. That's where I want. But where that ending one is, wherever that is, wherever I move it when I'm editing the level, I want it when it starts up to play, I want it to understand that and change level blueprint platform end to represent that. So watch this. Here's the strength of that. If I select this and I say, you know what though? I don't want it to end there. I want it to end here, maybe. Here. Let's do that. It's over by this series of blocks. So when I play that, without even doing any more updating, all of my code should basically do the math for me. Oh, there I go! Oh my god! Oh, boom! I knocked that block over. That's fun. Oh, that could be cool. I like that idea. I could knock that block over, and that block could like do some sort of, I don't know, thing. Okay, you see that? So that's the power. That's why I wanted to put these variables in the blueprint itself for the platform so that I can change this wherever I want it to go. Whoa, that's too far away. Control Z. Platform, and maybe I want it to move over to a corner and make it go really high, right? I could do this all day. Whee! Okay, there we go. I just kind of ruined it now. But let's say, you know what though? There's more things I want to do. because I think I'll stop the video here. Stop. And if you want to move forward, we can go a little bit more, because I want to add a little bit more functionality. Like I want to say, well, wait, I want it to reverse itself. But for now, I think, no, for now I'm going to show you reversing. And that is, yeah, I'll set it to, and now I'm mumbling, and I'm going to have to edit this, but I kind of don't want to edit it. So if you want to end there, that's fine. You have a platform, and it raises itself, and now you can elevate your player character to new heights. Problem is, what if you want them to move down? Now you could just do another lift that goes down, or you could take advantage of something else. So if you want to stick around, stick around. All right. My name is Brian Hegney, and welcome to my next section of the tutorial of a lift, getting the lift down. There's plenty of ways to do that, and there's some that are built into Unreal Engine. So if you went along with me with this blueprint, what you'll notice is when you open up the level blueprint of the first-person example map, and if I actually close it and then go open it again through this, Blueprints, Open Level Blueprints, there is a Finished Execute option. And what I'm going to do is click Drag Out from Finished, type in Delay, because I need to delay a little bit. Delay, 0.2 seconds is fine. I might actually set that to 1 second. No, 0.2 seconds. And I'm going to drag this completed down to here to reverse it. Let's do that. So just by adding that, compiling it now, when I click play, look at this. I'm going to go here. Now it's going to wait 1 second and then 0.2 seconds. Because remember, my animation was 5 seconds. And now it keeps going. And the question you're asking yourself is, I'm going to move off of it, why does it keep going? Okay, why does it bounce back? Because I'm not going to trigger it, right? The reason it's bouncing back, escape, is because this trigger doesn't move. And because we have an on actor, this is actually making that thing trigger. So one of the things we can do is if we want to actually make it only trigger upon our entry, is to say, oh goodness, we're going to do two things. What we need to do is kind of use functions for, we're going to use functions to actually check to see if the platform is hitting the trigger, because I don't want it to do that. And so one of the things I'm going to do is, I actually don't know the name of this trigger, the full name. What I'm going to open up the blueprint, and you know what I want to do? I actually want to be a little bit cleaner. So let's go ahead and clean this stuff up. I want to select all of the blueprints from all of the little sections from the event begin play, and I'm going to type C for comment, and I'm going to type event begin play. And then when I'm zoomed out, I can see, hey, there's event begin play. I'm going to select all of this stuff for triggering the platform 1, and I'm going to type C, and I'm going to type platform 1 rising. Hit enter. And actually from there, I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to compile it. I'm going to save it because I think that's been plenty of time. And if you want to hear more, hey, come back for more. I'm sure there will be plenty to do. I'm going to save it. I'm definitely going to save all. And the next time we come back, I'm going to just add more operability to it. Because right now it's kind of a sucky one. Okay, see you later. See you next time. Bye. Now watch as I try to turn off the thing. Where are you? There you are. Bye. Bye.